Hey there everyone, welcome to another video of Fox Android. So in this video we're going to learn how to fetch the data from the Firebase Cloud Firestore directly into the recycler view of our Android application, right? So let me just give you a brief demonstration of what we're going to get. So if you can see on my mobile screen I have this button. If I just press this button and we go to the next activity, so here you can see we have various items inside this recycler view. Basically it contains the first name, last name and age of the user. So as you can see in our Firebase project, we have various documents here, right? And each document contains the data about the user. For example, this contains the first name, last name and age of the user, right? So if I open another document, it contains the data of some other user, right? And we have fetched all that data to the recycler view. And if you can see here, we have also ordered it in the ascending order of the name, right? So the whose name starts with A appears first and then BCD in the ascending order, right? So we're gonna learn how to fetch the data and order it in certain way, and also how to apply the queries on the data while fetching from the Cloud Firestore, right? So if you want to implement the same to your Android application, make sure you watch this video till the end. So without much ado, let's get started. So guys, if you're new to this channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and press the bell notification icon for receiving the notification of the upcoming videos. And by the end of the video, if you like the video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button as well. So okay guys, the very first thing we need to do is to connect our project to the Firebase project, right? We need to connect the app. So for that we used to go to tools, Firebase, and a assistant window will open up, right? So if you have already connected your project to the Firebase, you can skip this, right? Then just search for Firestore. So let me just scroll it up. So Cloud Firestore, get started, connect to Firebase. So this will just open up our browser. So here you can create a new project, and if you have the existing project you can connect with that. In my case I have the project, so I'll just click on that. Click on this connect button. So okay, our app has been connected, so you can see connected. Now we need to add the dependencies. For that just click here, accept changes. Now it will just implement all the dependencies that we need and build the project. So let's wait for that. So okay guys, the dependencies has been added to our project. So let me just close this assistant window. So this is the activity where we are going to implement the cycle view, right? So let me just delete this and put a recycler view here. So let's just constrain it to the parent horizontally and vertically, and let me just give it a ID of recycler view only. So now for the individual item of the recycler view, we are going to create a new layout resource file. So for that just right click on the layout resource file. The root element for this layout will be the card view, and let us just name it as item. Click OK. So we have got the layout file here. So let me just rearrange this. So I'm going to quickly design this, then I'll explain what I've done, right? So guys, we have designed this individual item, right? So let me just explain the hierarchy, right? So inside this card view layout, we have a vertical linear layout, and then we have three horizontal linear layouts, inside which we have two text views, and I have given the ID to every second text views in which we are going to inflate or populate the data, right? So for example, first name, last name, and age. So that is all we need to do in the front end part. So let us just go to the backend code. So let me just go to the main activity. Now to store the data of an individual user, we need to create a data class, right, or model class, which will store the data of every user. So for that, let me just create a new Java class. Go here, new Java class. Let me just name it as user. And now in my case, I'm going to store the user's first name, last name, and age, right? So it can vary according to your application. So whatever data you want to store, you can declare those variables here. So for example, let me just declare first name, last name, and the age. So let me just focus on one thing here. Make sure that the spelling of this particular variable matches with this field name, right? For example, here the spelling is first name, right, and N is capital. Make sure that these both things are same, otherwise while fetching the data you'll face the problem. You will not get the data inside the recycler view, and you will not be able to find the error. So first name, last name, and age, and make sure the type of the variable should also match with this. For example, here the first name and last name is the string type, and age is a number, so that's why I have put in long for the age, right? So that is all you need to do. So let us just create getter and setter method. So for that, just right click, generate getter and setter, right? Select all the fields, and this will be created. So this is required while you're fetching the data from the Firestore, right? The Firebase will be using these methods, and we also need one constructor. So right click, generate constructor. So this is for our application, right? And for the Firestore, we also need an empty constructor as well. So just create the empty constructor here, right? That is all we need to do inside the model class. So for feeding the data to the recycler view, you all know that we need an adapter for that. So let us just create a adapter class. Let us name it as my adapter. It will extend the recycler view dot adapter, and let me just pass in my adapter dot my view holder, right? Now let us just implement certain methods. So click here, alt enter, implement methods, implement all these methods. And now we need to create a inner class. So for that, public static class, and we are going to name it as my view holder, and this class will extend recycler view dot view holder, right? So now we need to override a method. So click here, alt enter, create constructor matching super, right? So we have got this. So now we are going to declare two variables here. The first one will be context, right, and the second will be a array list of the type user. It will contain the user class objects, right? So let us just name it as user array list. And now we are going to create a constructor for this. So right click, generate constructor, select both these elements, press shift and down arrow. Okay, we got the constructor. So the very first thing we are going to do is we are going to return the item count. So item count will be the length of this array list. So user array list dot size, right? So that is it we need to do in this particular method. So inside this my view holder, we are going to refer to all the elements of the item, a particular item. For example, in my case, I want to populate the data into these three fields: this first name, last name, and the age, right? So I'm going to refer all these elements. So let me just quickly do that. So all right, we have referred to all these three elements, right, that we are going to populate with the data. So after that, we are going to override this method on create view holder. So inside this, we are going to create a reference variable for the view layout inflator dot from. We'll pass the context here, and now we are going to pass the layout that we have made here, the item layout resource file, right? And here we'll return the object of my view holder, right? And we'll pass this view inside this as an argument. And the last method we need to overwrite is this on bind view holder. So inside this, we'll create object of user class, and we'll get the object from this array list using this position. So I'll user array list dot get, and we'll pass the position here. Now we have got the element, the user object, right? So holder dot first name dot set text. So user dot first name, right? And similarly we'll do for the other two things. So in the third case, we have converted the integer type, right, the long type data to a string using string class, right? So that's why we use this, and inside this we have set the first name and the last name. So that is all we need to do inside this adapter class. Now we'll just go to the main activity where we want to implement this. So let me just declare certain variables here. Okay guys, we have declared certain variables and we have referred to the recycler view, and we have set certain attributes for the recycler view. So the very first thing we are going to do here is we are going to initialize the Firebase Firestore, right? So for that, we will use Firebase Firestore.get instance. So we'll get the instance for the Firestore. Now we have the user array list. So inside this, we'll be storing the whole data. So let us just initialize it. New array list, and the type of which will be user. And now let us initialize the adapter as well. So new my adapter. So the very first thing we need to pass as an argument is the context, and second thing will be the array list. So I guess it is small my, yeah. So we have initialized all the things, right? So now for getting the data from the Firestore, we'll just create a new method, event. You can name it according to your application. I'll just name it as event change listener. Now let us just create this function. Now inside this function, we will refer to the collection. So db.collection, and the name of our collection is users, I guess. This is the collection name. So I'll pass users, right, and dot add snapshot listener, right, new event listener. So now this is the callback method. This callback method will be called in four cases. The first one is the when a new data is added, right? Or someone has modified the data or removed the data, and when you run the application and you attach this listener for the first time, it will get all the data from the Firebase. So we are going to use this. Now in case you want to order your data, right, while fetching from the Firestore, you want that your data should be ordered in certain manner. So for that you can just use order by, right? For example, you want to order it by the first name, so the name of the field, so name of the field is first name, and I want it in the ascending order, right? So directions dot ascending. All right, so you can also apply some queries here, for example dot greater than. You can just play around with these things. So for example, in this we are going to put the data in ascending order according to the first name, right? So now on event will be called, so we'll get the value inside this as a query snapshot, right? So if there is some error, we'll get it here. So first we'll check if error is not equal to null, that means there is some error. Then let us just log the error and return from this particular callback method. Now we'll return from here only if there is any error, right? So in case we get the data, we'll be using for loop for. So if dc.getType is equal to document change dot type dot, so we have three methods: added, modified, and removed. So here we'll be using added only, right? For example, this will be called whenever a data is added, and it will always be called for the first time when we are launching the app. You can also use modified if the data is modified, what you want to do with that. If data is removed, what you want to do with that, right? So added. So now if data is added, we will fetch that data to our array list here, right? So let me just put the semicolon here. So we'll put the data in user array list dot add. So dc dot get document, we'll convert it to the object of user class, right? So when we loop through this for loop, we'll get all the data inside this user array list, right? So after that, we'll call myAdapter.notify dataset change. So this is how we'll get all the data from the Firestore and we'll put it inside the user array list, right? So now when we just open this activity, it will take a time to fetch the data. So we do not want the user to see a blank screen, right? White screen or a blank screen. That doesn't give a nice user experience. So for that, what we'll do is, so whenever the activity is launched, right, will raise a progress dialog, right? So let me just quickly do that. So the very first thing we are going to do is we are going to show the progress dialog bar, and inside this, if there is error, we'll use if progress. Okay, we need to declare it outside this method, right? So if progress dialog is showing, then we're going to dismiss it, and I'll just simply copy this and put it here as well. So okay guys, that is pretty much everything we need to do to implement this feature to our Android application. So let me just check that if everything is sorted. We have set the layout manager. I guess we are missing something. We haven't set the adapter to the cycler view. So recycler view dot set adapter, and we'll set this adapter. So let me just quickly install this app to my cell phone and check if it is working fine or not, right? So okay guys, the app has been installed to my cell phone. As you can see on my mobile screen, if I just tap on this button, so here you can see we have fetched all the data, and the data is ordered in the ascending order according to the first name, right? So we have got all the data. So let us just check one more thing, that if we add another document, so let me just quickly add the document. Now if I just add this document, the data should get updated in the recycler view without refreshing it, right? Let's just save this. And if I just scroll it up, you can see Kiara Sharma 18. So that means we can listen to all the events in real time as well. If someone changes anything in the user's collection, it will automatically be updated in the recycler view. So I guess we have successfully implemented this feature to our Android application, right? So I also hope that you guys have understood the code. In case of any doubt, you can always ask me in the comment section, or you can DM me on Instagram. The Instagram username will be there on your screen right now. And if you like the video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, and in case you're new to this channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button and press the bell notification icon for seeing notification of the upcoming videos. So that is it for today's video. See you in another video. Bye.